Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, does anybody have a question from the previous class? So in the previous class, we saw some soul facts. We saw the size of the soul. We saw what is the symptom of the soul. And we saw how the soul floats in different kinds of air. What is the size of the soul?
1
by 10,000.
Yes,
Of the tip of the hair.
1/10,000.
Size of a hair.
Yes, correct. 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair. And then where does the soul reside? What is the residence of the soul?
Inside the heart of the human body.
Yes,
Core
Most of the living entities.
correct. And along with the soul, who is there beside the soul in the same location?
the Paramatma.
The
Super
Paramatma,
soul.
yes, or the super soul. Okay, and then we saw an important concept called SAP, S-A-P, SAP. What does S stand for?
Sambandha.
Sambandha. A stands for
Abhideya.
Abhideya, and P stands for
Prayojana.
Prayojana. So what is Sambandha? So what is Sambandha?
Is the
It is
relationship.
Who am I?
ignorance to
What am
jnana.
I?
Yes, correct. Who am I?
Who is God?
And what is my relationship with God? So once we know the Sambandha, then what are we going to do about it? That is Abhideya, right? How are we going to behave? What are we going to do? How are we going to act? That is Abhideya. So what do we do? Once we know that we are the servants of God, then we automatically do something to serve the Lord. We engage in devotional service. And because we engage in devotional service, what is it that we get in return? What do we get as our ultimate goal? That is Prayojana.
The ultimate goal.
Yes, the ultimate goal. Okay.
It is all ignorance to the mission of life. No?
Yes, I mean, the majority of the population is in the mode of ignorance. And once we get spiritual knowledge from Guru, Sadhu, or Shastra, then only we understand Sambandha. Until then, we are in the mode of ignorance. Okay. So the symptom of the presence of the soul is consciousness. Okay, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. As long as the soul is present in the body is alive. The body can react to external situations, right? When the soul is absent, that means it's a dead body. So the symptom, or we know that the soul is present in the body because the body is alive. Okay, then we saw how we are qualitatively the same as God, but quantitatively we are much tinier. And we saw this with two examples. One was mountain of gold and a particle of gold. And the other example we saw was
Water.
Yes, the ocean.
Water.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Ah.
The ocean and the water in a test tube. So yes, qualitatively, we are the same in quality, but different in quantity. This also we saw in the previous class. And then we saw how Krishna compares the soul changing its bodies at the time of death to the changing of new garments. Just as how a person wears new garments when the old garments are dirty or unfit to wear. In the same way, when the body is old and unfit to reside, then the soul takes another body. Okay. So we saw how our next body is decided by the activities we do in our current life. And our current bodies we have got because of the activities we have done in the past. So whatever is our desire, whatever we like to do, to fulfill that, we get that particular kind of a body. And we saw that most human population is engaged in 4 activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But that is what even the animals do. Human life is not meant only for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Then we saw the story of Gopa Kumar from which book? Which book was this?
Ram Sahita, no, this is
Which one?
Brihad Bhagavatam.
Brihad? Not
Trigadam
Bhagavatam.
Bal
What is it again?
Brihad
Brigadam.
Bhagavatam.
Not Bhagavatam.
Brigadam Bal Sanatam.
Brihad
Brihad
Bhagavatamrita. Okay. Brihad
Bhagavatam.
Bhagavatamrita. Who is the author of this book?
Sanatan Goswami.
Sanatana Goswami.
Sanatan
Goswami.
Goswami. Who was Sanatan Goswami? Sanatan Goswami is a disciple of
Lord Prabhupada.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes,
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
correct. Okay, and then we saw this picture of two birds on the branch of the tree. One is the individual soul or the atomic soul, and the other is the super soul. The bird that is enjoying the fruits of the tree is us, the individual soul, and the bird that is watching the activities is the super soul. Okay, so we stopped at this verse. 2.23 was the last verse we did, where Krishna is saying that the soul cannot be cut into pieces. It cannot be burned by fire. It cannot be moistened by water, nor can it be withered by the wind. We stop here. Now in 2.24, we will see why 23. So why is it that the soul cannot be cut into pieces? Why is it that it cannot be burned by fire? Why it cannot be moistened by water? And why it cannot be withered by the wind? This is what is 24. Okay, so please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay.
अच्छेद्यो यमदाह्योऽयम् अक्लेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुर् अचलोऽयं सनातनः.
So who are going to be our volunteers to read the translations today and for the other text?
So I'll go for translation to this.
Okay, Supriya will read the translations. Thank you. And for the other text?
I'll go for the other text today.
Okay, thank you, Teja.
Okay, sure. I'll start with translation.
Yes.
2.24. So this individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same.
So we saw in the previous verse that the soul cannot be destroyed by weapons. Why it cannot be destroyed by weapons is because it is unbreakable. The soul cannot be broken into smaller fragments. Therefore, it cannot be destroyed by any weapons. It cannot be moistened by water because it is insoluble. It cannot get dissolved in the water. So therefore, it cannot be moistened by water. It cannot be burned by fire because it says here, it cannot be burned. We cannot burn the soul. It cannot be withered by the wind, we saw in 23. Why? Because it says here that the soul cannot dry, right? So the soul is unbreakable, it is insoluble, it cannot be burnt, and it cannot be dried. Then again, Krishna says, he is everlasting. So the soul is Sanatan. There never was a time when it did not exist in the past, nor will there be a time when it will not exist in the future. So again, he repeats, it is everlasting. It is present everywhere. Sarvagata, it is all pervading. It exists everywhere. It is unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So the soul does not change. The body changes. We saw how the body is changing from youth, from boyhood to youth to old age, kaumaram, yauvaram, jana. But here, the soul does not change at all. The soul is eternally the same. That's why even when we grow old, the feeling is the same. Just, we don't feel that we are old. Of course, the body may have some aches and pains, but the spirit, in spirit, we always feel youthful. We feel, the same. The feeling is the same. Why? Because the soul does not change. And the soul is present everywhere. Prabhupada comments that the soul exists. There are entities in the water. There are entities even in fire. Even on the sun planet, there are living entities, right? The scientists say that people cannot survive on the sun. But if that is true, then there is no meaning to saying that the soul is present everywhere. There is no place where the soul is not present. Okay. So of course, just as how the aquatics have a bodies that suits their existence underwater, there are living entities which have bodies which are suitable to be able to survive even on the sun planet. So the soul is present everywhere. But yes, the body undergoes 6 changes. What are the 6 changes the body undergoes? Prabhupada explains the purport. Creation, that is, it takes birth, then it grows for some time, then it produces byproducts, that is reproduction. Okay, the byproducts of the body are our children. Then preservation, it stays for some time, the body stays for some time, it's preserved for some time. Then starts the deterioration, that is what we call as old age. The body begins to deteriorate, and finally then there is death, then there is destruction. So these are the 6 changes that the body undergoes. Now, going by this verse, look at this picture and tell me if everything is correct or there is something wrong in this picture. Let's try to understand the picture first. So we discussed how the material world is in one corner of the spiritual world. So the big white triangle is the rectangle, I'm sorry, the big white rectangle is the spiritual world, and the material world is in one corner. And we have those circles are the different living entities. Yes. Now the material world is compared to a prison house. It's like a jail. That's why we have these lines in that rectangle of the material world. Why is the material world compared to a prison house? Because the living entities who did not behave properly in the spiritual world are sent to the material world. Now, technically, the material world is also within the spiritual world. If you see, the material world is within the spiritual world only, but still it is apart. It's like if somebody is residing in the jail in Santiago, is it equal to any other resident who's also living in Santiago? Technically, the jail is inside Santiago city, isn't it? But still, if he's in the jail, you cannot say that he's a resident of Santiago. You will say that he's residing in jail. He's a criminal. So this is what we understand, okay, from this picture. So the material world is a prison house. It's in one corner of the spiritual world, and these circles are representing the different souls. Now, paths of yoga means, yes, there are different ways, right? We have so many paths that we choose from, which if we follow perfectly, then we can go back from the material world to the spiritual world. So that arrow, that horizontal arrow, shows how one spirit soul has moved on from the material and has gone back to the spiritual world. So that means liberation. Now, what is technically wrong in this picture? Who can spot?
The thing of merges with Lord.
Can you repeat that?
That loses its identity and merges with Lord.
Because what
Right,
does
exactly.
Krishna say here? See, Krishna said that the soul is eternally the same. The soul is eternally the same. And here in this picture, it says that the soul has lost its identity. If the soul has lost its identity, which means it's not the same anymore. And that's why that circle is shown in a dotted line. When that soul, see, the soul in the material world is a full circle. But when the picture shows that it has moved to the spiritual world, it is shown in a dotted line to show that it has lost its identity. So that's the technical mistake in this picture. The soul does not change, Krishna says. So it's not possible that the soul will merge into the Lord and lose its identity. The soul at all times maintains its individuality, irrespective of whether it is in the spiritual or in the material world. The bodies
Like
change.
the watermelon example.
Yes, exactly. The watermelon example. Yes. Now, here is the correct picture. When the soul is moving from the material to the spiritual world, it's still the same, right? The circle is still the same. It has not changed. So this is the correct picture. Okay. Now, this we discussed last
Question.
time. Sorry?
Sorry, quick question. What about Sayogya Mukti though? Doesn't that mean that you merge into the Brahman effulgence? If you merge, you don't lose your identity then, right?
No, even when the soul, no, the soul does not merge into the Brahman effulgence. The soul exists in the Brahman effulgence. It is existing there. It is not merging, because remember, the soul is insoluble also, we read.
Mm-hmm.
So the soul, where is that verse? It's waterproof, see. It is insoluble. So the soul exists in the Brahman effulgence, and also it is, okay, so yeah, even when the soul is in the Brahman effulgence, it exists as an individual entity over there. It does not lose its identity there. Again, the same watermelon example. The pulp of the fruit is compared to the Brahman effulgence, and the seeds are the individual spirit souls. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this we discussed last time, how there are 8,400,000 different kinds of bodies that exist all over the universes. And here is the exact reference from the Padma Purana. Let us see the exact split up. Can we read this?
There are 9 lakh species of aquatic animals, 2 lakh species of, it's more than 2 lakh, it's 20 lakh species of immovable beings like the trees and the vegetation, 11 lakh species of reptiles and insects, 10 lakh species of birds, 30 lakh species of 4-legged beasts, and 4 lakh species of human beings.
Yeah, so this is the exact split up. How many varieties are there in each category? Okay, this is there in the Padma Purana. So here is a split up. Say only 5% of all the different kinds of bodies that exist, only 5% are the human bodies. So this shows that how the human body is very rare compared to the others. Now let's see some Shastric references. Let's only read the translations to see how this human body is very, very rare to obtain.
So he's reading, or I should read?
No, you
I
can
will go
read.
for this.
The human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature. Although it is a very rare achievement, this human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat having the spiritual master as the captain and the instruction of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul.
Okay, so the human body is compared to what here?
It is compared to a constructed boat.
And the spiritual master is the
Captain.
captain of the boat. So if we have a human body, we have the boat. Very nice. We can use the boat to cross over the ocean, but we need somebody who's going to drive the boat for us. And that captain of the ship is our spiritual master. And the instructions of the Lord is compared to, or the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita in this analogy is compared to
The personality of Godhead as a favorable winds.
the favorable winds. Just as how the favorable winds will take the boat in a particular direction, if we follow the instructions of Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita, the instructions of the Lord, then that will impel us on our destination. Okay, next reference. Can we read this translation?
After many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which, although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Thus, a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life as long as his body, which is always subject to death, has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abdominal species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for a human being.
So after many, many births and deaths, we have got this human body. We have crossed through millions and millions of life forms. And at the end of it, we have got this human body, isn't it? Now, if we are going to engage in only sense gratification, even in this human life, then what is the use of having this human body? Because that sense gratification can be done even in the body of the animals, like how we saw previously. The body of the pig is given to a person who eats indiscriminately. The body of a polar bear is given to one who likes to sleep a lot. So if we are going to engage in sense gratification in the human body, then this human body is going to be taken away from us, because that kind of sense gratification is enjoyed even by the animals. So Prabhupada would say that you have given so many lives without surrendering to the Lord. At least this one birth that we have, let us at least give this one life to Krishna. And even if it does not work, even if it fails, what does it matter? Because it is one life out of so many millions of life. We have seen that previously we didn't surrender. That's why we are here, isn't it? Otherwise, we would have been in the spiritual realm. So because we did not surrender to the Lord in the past millions of lifetimes, that's the reason why we are here. Let us at least in this one lifetime make the change. Try to make the change in this lifetime, surrender to the Lord, and see that yes, it does make a difference. It does make a difference. But even if it doesn't make a difference, what does it matter? Because it's one out of millions of lives. But let us at least try once. Prabhupada would preach like that. Okay, next reference.
While rotating in the cycle of birth and death again and again in different species because of his own fruitive activities, the dependent living entity by good fortune may happen to become a human being. This human birth is very rarely obtained.
So this human birth is very rarely obtained. So all these quotes are from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This one, the previous one as well. So all these three quotes are from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, let's read this text.
Now let's examine how the spirit soul's consciousness evolves and how he manifests his consciousness in various bodies. Consciousness is a symptom of the spiritual soul. Consciousness is spiritual energy radiating from the soul. The consciousness radiating from the spiritual soul within the heart pervades the entire material body. Until the soul evolves up to the human form, his consciousness is so covered that he has very little chance for self realization. Realization that the self is not the material body but the living soul within. As stated in the Brahma Vaivarta Purana, there is a gradual evolutionary process, but it is not the body that is evolving. All the bodily forms are already there. It is the spiritual entity or the spiritual spark within the body that is being promoted by the laws of nature under the supervision of superior authority. Vedic versions of evolution. God creates the 84 lakh species simultaneously, and as each spiritual soul transmigrates from lower to higher species, his consciousness progressively develops. Finally, he attains a human body with keen human intelligence. So, evolution does exist, but it's an evolution of consciousness, not of species.
So what is the Vedic version of evolution? What is it that is evolving? The body is not evolving. It's the consciousness that is evolving. And the soul, when it is in the body of a lower species, let's say the soul is in the body of a tree. The tree has lesser consciousness than a pig, right? And then a human body has greater consciousness than that of a pig. So the what is evolving through the different bodies is the consciousness. It's not that the bodies are evolving. What is the theory of evolution, according to the scientists, Darwin's theory of evolution is what? That the bodies are evolving. According to Darwin, our ancestors were monkeys, isn't it? But the Vedic version says that no, all these bodies, all 8,400,000 species have come simultaneously. All of them were simultaneously created. It's not that, from the monkeys, the human beings have evolved. So what does that theory of evolution mean? It's that when the monkeys existed or when the apes existed, the human beings did not exist at one particular point of time. The human beings did not exist, the apes existed. And over a period of time, from the apes came the human beings. Yes, but the Vedic version is both of them existed simultaneously at the same time. What has evolved is the consciousness. This we learn from our Shastra. So if the scientists cannot answer the question, what came first, the egg or the chicken? They cannot answer this question, isn't it? Because they say one has evolved from the other. What is the answer to this question based on the Vedic version? How will we answer that question? What came first, the egg or the chicken?
That they both existed.
Yes,
Both have evolved.
together, exactly. Because one cannot exist without the other. So both came into existence at the same time. That is the Vedic theory of evolution. We don't believe in in Darwin's theory of evolution because that does not make sense. According to Darwin, A has evolved into B, right? Now, when something evolves into another object, then A should not exist anymore because A has evolved into B. But today we have both the apes and the human beings existing. So what is the meaning of evolution? And Darwin himself in his book wrote that he has used his wild imagination to bring about this theory. Actually, there is no scientific evidence to it. This theory was just out of his own imagination. He himself admitted that in one of his books. Okay. So yes, Vedic version is all the species were put into creation simultaneously, so that the bodies are not evolving. It's the consciousness that is evolving. Now, some people think that after you get human birth, then that's it. After that, there is no more birth. But just as how there can be evolution of consciousness, there can also be a devolution of consciousness. Let us read this.
Just as there is evolution of consciousness, there is also devolution of consciousness. If having evolved up to the human species, a spiritual soul misuses his human faculties, he must descend again into the lower species. Although the soul in the human form of life still identifies with his body, he can also glimpse his spiritual identity. This spiritual consciousness is like a small flame covered by a cloud of smoke. If we fan that flame by cultivating spiritual knowledge, we can rekindle the fire of pure consciousness, Krishna consciousness.
So yes, if we don't use the human body the way we are supposed to use it, if we don't use the human body to realize the absolute or to realize God, then we can fall down. There can be a devolution. We can again take birth in the animal kingdom. We can again take birth as an ant or an aquatic or a tree. So there can be devolution of consciousness. Let's read this.
The human form of life is a crossroads for the spiritual soul. He is free either to descend again into the darkness of lower species or to end his torturous journey through repeated births and deaths by rekindling the full fire of his Krishna consciousness.
So as we discussed previously, that we have what we call as minute independence or free will to choose, right? So the human body is the time when we choose. Are we going to end this birth and death into so many 8,400,000 species and again millions and millions all over again, the whole cycle? Are we going to repeat it all over again? Or are we going to choose to be free from this? So this path, what are we going to do? This choice we can make only in the human body. Once we are in the body of the animals or the aquatics, then we are just going from one species to the other species, from one body to the other body in systematically. By default, we are just crossing over, right? Going from one to A to B to C to D to E. There is no, we cannot do anything about it. But in the human body, we can make the choice. 25.
अव्यक्तोऽयमचिन्त्योऽयम् अविकार्योऽयमुच्यते तस्मादेवं विदित्वैनं नानुशोचितुमर्हसि.
Okay, translation. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not crave for the body.
So the soul is avyakta. Avyakta means it is invisible. We cannot see the soul. So it's not that the soul is in the heart. So we cut open the heart and we can see the soul inside. That's not possible. You cannot see the soul. Even under the greatest microscope, the soul cannot be seen. So the soul is avyakta, achintya. It is inconceivable. We cannot understand the soul by our own endeavor. You cannot understand the soul by doing some experiments in the laboratory. The only way we can understand the soul is by receiving the knowledge through Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, because this soul knowledge is not available anywhere else, right? So the soul is achintya, inconceivable, and the soul is avikaryo, it is unchangeable. So the soul cannot change. As we saw, the body goes through 6 changes, but the soul cannot change. So what Krishna is saying is, these people here on the battlefield, they will get new bodies. If they get liberation, then they will get spiritual bodies. But whatever it is, they will get a brand new fresh body. So there is nothing to lament. Let's read this.
The real me is beyond genes and genes. Being influenced by our superficial culture, we often evaluate others based on externals, what they wear, their blood, birth, or dynasty. We may evaluate ourselves in a similar way. That's the reason why, in the current yoga, people have low self esteem.
So usually the mindset of the people is to judge others by either their flashy clothes, right? Branded clothes. If somebody is very well dressed, then we think that the person is very well cultured. And the other way we judge people is by their blood, their birth, or the dynasty. If somebody is born in a high caste or he belongs to a Brahmin family, then we think that yes, that person is very, very respectable. So this is true all over the world. In America, in the Western world, people are more color conscious. In India and other Eastern countries, they are more caste conscious, right? So whether you're in the Western world or in the Eastern world, this exists everywhere. But the real me, the soul, is beyond Geans, genes, our clothes, and Genes, our dynasty or our birth, right? The soul, so it takes a genius to understand that we are not what the externals are, we are the spirit soul. So irrespective of how we are externally, Krishna loves us and he will continue to love us because the soul is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So as I said previously, this is a subsection within section 2 in this chapter, vision of the seers of truth. So with this, we come to the end and let's read a summary of the section here.
Vision of seers of truth, vision by those who view the world based on scriptures, shown by 4 points. Clear vision helps one avoid lamentation on bodily platform. No death for soul and no endurance for the body. This implies Kauravas cannot escape death even if Arjuna does not kill. Secondly, one can see that no sin is involved in such violence because it is done under Krishna's direction and with knowledge of soul and body. Third, change of body is compared to the change of dress. Fourth, no weapon can kill or harm the soul. Characteristics of the soul. First, eternally and individual, identity and part and parcel of the Supreme. Second, soul is unborn and does not take birth. Third, soul is indestructible and eternal and therefore never dies. Fourth, soul is immeasurable. It is too small to be measured by any material means. Fifth, soul never undergoes changes. Soul is steady, does not undergo six changes like the body. Immutable, never changes like matter, unlike body which goes through six changes. Never become God. Soul always remains atomic to infinite supreme. Cannot be cut, burned, dried, or wet. Immovable, unchangeable, everlasting, and eternally the same. Position of soul, situated in the region of the heart, present everywhere, sarvagata. Living entities are also present in sun and fire. How to perceive the soul? Soul is invisible and inconceivable. No human experiments can conceive the soul. Symptom of the soul. Soul is perceived by individual consciousness. The only proof for the soul is Vedic scriptures. Influence of the soul pervades entire body, Mundaka Upanishada. Analogy, like sun pervades entire universe and maintains. Similarly, light of the soul maintains the material body. Analogy, active principle of medicine spreads all over the body. Effect of life airs on the soul. Soul is surrounded by five kinds of life airs. Hatha Yoga helps in liberation.
Okay. Anybody has a question on the characteristics of the soul so far? Is everything okay? Okay, let's proceed with 26.
अथ चैनं नित्यजातं नित्यं वा मन्यसे मृतं तथापि त्वं महाबाहो नैनं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Translation. If, however, you think that the soul or the symptom of life will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty aunt.
So now here Krishna is talking about the philosophy of rejecting the soul. So he's saying, yes, the soul is all this, what we saw previously. But even if you think that the soul can be born and will die forever, actually the soul is eternal. Krishna has said that the soul is eternal. But here he's telling Arjuna, even if you think that the soul will be born and the soul will die forever, even then there is no reason to lament. Because if the soul is going to be born and die, which means if you think that the soul is the body, right? Just as how the body has to die, and people think that with the body, the soul also dies. Even if you think like that, what is there to lament? Because then you think that, okay, the body is a combination of different kind of chemicals and the soul dies with the body. Even then, what is there to lament? Krishna is saying. By what name is he calling him here?
Mahabaho.
Mahabaho. So why is he calling him Mahabaho? Yeah, you're mighty armed. You are coming from a great dynasty. So you will not think like this, right? Because this is not our culture. This is not the correct understanding. So here he's talking about the philosophy of rejecting the soul. And at the same time, he's calling him Mahabaho in the sense that, no, but actually you are Mahabaho. You will not fall a prey to these misconceptions. So this is the reason why he calls him Mahabaho in 2.26.
जातस्य हि ध्रुवो मृत्युर्ध्रुवं जन्म मृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येऽर्थे न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Translation. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
So what Krishna is saying here, the universal fact is that one who is born has to die. He is sure to die. And one who has died is sure to take birth again. So this is the universal fact Krishna is saying. If you are born, you have to die. And one who dies, he has to take birth again. Therefore, don't avoid carrying out your duty. Krishna is telling Arjuna. So in our shastras, or usually, time is depicted as a serpent, right? We say that the serpent of time is approaching you. So we know the moment we took birth, the day we took birth, our appointment for death has been fixed. Definitely we are going to die because we have taken birth. And the snake in the form of time is approaching us. The clock is ticking, right? Now, what will you call a person if he's sitting in his room and he's watching television and a cobra is approaching him and he continues to watch TV? What would you call that person? Is he being very intelligent or is he being foolish?
Foolish.
He's
He's
being
being,
foolish.
he's
Yeah,
being ignorant.
yes.
Foolish.
Okay. So in the same way, we know that we have taken birth and time in the form of that cobra is approaching us, but we continue to do our sense gratification activities, then we are only being foolish. We know that we are going to die, but we still continue to engage in mundane activities like eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Then we are only fools, isn't it? We are not using our intelligence. We are not using our intelligence. In the Mahabharata, there is this incident where Yudhishthira and his brothers were in the forest and Kunti was feeling thirsty. So Yudhishthira sent his brothers to this lake to bring water. And then each of those brothers, they died by drinking the water in the lake because they did not answer the questions that were posed by the owner of the lake there. Okay, when they went to fetch water, like each brother, they went to bring the water. And then the personality who owned the lake said that if you answer my questions, only then you can take water from my lake. They refused to answer the questions and then they drank the water and they died. So each one goes there, they are all dead. Even Arjuna and Bhim are lying dead there by the river side. Finally, Yudhishthir goes to see what happened to my brothers. And then, Yudhishthir is also told that you have to answer my questions. And he asks him many questions. Yudhishthir answers those questions. And one of those questions that Yudhishthir was asked was, what is it that surprises him the most? Okay. And Yudhishthir said, the one thing that surprises me the most is that people always see so many of them around them dying. But still they think that they will live forever. They think that it will not happen to me. They still continue to live their life as though it's not going to happen to me. They're not doing anything about it to realize their human birth. So this was Yudhishthir's answer. Okay. Now another thing. Another thing that
Where
we
this, I'm sorry to disturb you, that where this instant was mentioned?
in the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata. With
Yes,
reference, some reference?
In the Mahabharata, when they were in the forest.
Okay.
At that time.
Okay.
This is called as the incident of the lake of death. And then to complete the story, because all his brothers had died, then because Yudhishthira answered all the questions, the personality told Yudhishthira that I am very pleased with you because you have answered the questions. What do you want? So Yudhishthira asked that his brothers be brought back to life. Okay, so that's how they were brought back to life. Anyway. And based on this 2.27, some people say that, okay, one who has taken birth is sure to die. So anyway, everybody has to die. Then why should we follow devotional service? Why should we follow restrictions? Why to spend time chanting? Why should we do all this? Anyway, everybody has to die. सबको वैसे भी एक दिन मरना ही है, तो better खाओ पियो मजा करो और फिर मरो. They say no, enjoy life. Anyway, everybody has to die. But there is a difference in the death of a devotee and the death of a non-devotee. So in relation to that, let's see a story of a personality called Ajamila from the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a video. I have to do a new share, 1 second. Can you see the screen change?
Yes.
Okay, so let's watch the story.
The following is a true story from the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam, an ancient Vedic literature expertly presented by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. It was originally recited by Shukadev Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit in order to show the extraordinary potency of the chanting of the holy names. These holy names of the Supreme Lord are so powerful that if a person sincerely chants them only once, he will be delivered from all sins. One who hears this story with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of how sinful he may have been. Ajamil grew up as a nice young man. He was a reservoir of good conduct and noble qualities. He was pure, respectful to others, gentle, self-controlled, austere, and had all the qualities of a first-class Brahmana. Ajamil's father arranged for his marriage to a beautiful and chaste daughter of a respectable Brahmana. He lived a simple, peaceful life with his wife and young family. One day, Ajamil went out to the fields nearby to collect some flowers for worshipping the Lord. He happened to see a drunken man and a woman walking nearby. They were embracing and flirting with one another. She cast a flirtatious glance towards Ajamil. His mind became hopelessly attracted and bewildered. He just couldn't take his eyes off her. In the Bhagawad Gita, it is said that if one contemplates sense objects, he becomes attached to them. From attachment, lust develops. From lust, anger arises, and one falls down into the material pool. Despite his strict training as a Brahmana, Ajamil found himself becoming more and more attached to the woman, and he became helplessly entangled. Gone was his meditation on the scriptures. Instead, he found himself always thinking about her. In order to be near her, Ajamil decided to employ her as a maidservant in his own home.
Prabhuji, is there something wrong? You don't seem yourself lately. You seem so disturbed. What's bothering you? Please tell me. Maybe I can help.
Oh, shut up going on, will you? Why don't you leave me alone and mind your own business? Oh, for goodness sake! What's wrong now? Just leave me alone, will you?
If you don't mind, I'd like to go away and stay with my parents for a while. I'll take the children with me.
Hey, pretty lady. Come on over here. I got a present for you. Close your eyes and hold out your hands.
Oh, these are beautiful.
Here, let me help you.
I forgot my... Ajamil, how could you? How could you?
Why don't you come with me? You're just wasting your time here. You can come and stay at my place.
Ajamil!
Having abandoned his righteous wife and home, Ajamil moved in with the woman and engaged in all kinds of sinful acts in her association. When his father passed away in due course of time, Ajamil lavishly spent his inheritance to satisfy this woman, who he had become infatuated with. And by her association, he engaged in more and more sinful activities, one by one losing all of his Brahminical qualities.
Oh, you win again, Ajamil. You're having a good run tonight.
This is nothing.
All right then, let's get into some big money.
As it's my lucky day, all right. Hey, Pritha, give me another drink.
You've drunk too much already.
Another drink, I said.
Shall we say 5 gold coins?
And where would you get that kind of money?
That's my business. I have my resources.
Come on, Ajamil. Have you lost your nerve?
All right, I can match that.
You throw first then.
Double 4. Double 4 again. I've got you, friend. Only a double 6 can save you now.
Come on now. Lucky. Double 6. I win. Bad luck, Ajamil. I think the gods have turned against you. Well, I'll be off now. Better luck next time, Ajamil. Thanks for the wine. I'll be back later to collect my winnings.
Well, what's wrong with you? It's not the end of the world, is it?
No! Not the end of the world, but it's the end of my savings. I'm broke.
No money? You can forget about me then.
No, wait. I'll get some money. I'll find some money somehow.
Well, you better start looking then, and quick. Here, you may need this, Ajamil, because we're gonna need money. Plenty of money.
Ajamil then became ruthless in his attempts to gain money. Stealing, threatening, murdering, he would let nothing stand in his way. One by one, all his good qualities left him, and he led a degraded life of crime and debauchery. Thus Ajamil spent his time in abominable activities to maintain his family, and before he knew it, 88 years of his life had passed by. Having completely forgotten that the purpose of life is to render loving service to Lord Krishna, he had become very attached to his unlawful wife, home and children. The youngest child was called Narayan, and old Ajamil was very, very attached to him. Indeed, he was so absorbed in his family life that he couldn't understand that his own time was now exhausted, and that death would soon be upon him.
Narayan! Where are you, my son? Where are you? Narayan! Narayan! Oh, Narayan! Man alone.
Who are you that dares to challenge us? For we are the Yamadutas. We are acting on the orders of our master, Yamaraj, the god of death and punishment. This man Ajamil, although born of a Brahmin family, has spent many years of his life breaking all the religious principles, causing pain and suffering to men and animals alike. Now it is time to take him to the court of Yamaraj, the god of death, where he will be tried and punished for his sinful actions.
We cannot allow you to take this soul. Ajamil has already atoned for all his sinful actions. In a helpless condition, he has chanted the holy name of Lord Narayan. Therefore, he has become purified of all his sins. If If one chants the holy name of the Lord, knowingly or unknowingly, that chanting will still be effective. It is like medicine. If a sick man takes medicine, even if he does not know how it is acting, still the effects will be there. At the time of his death, Ajamil helplessly and loudly chanted the holy name of the Lord. That chanting has freed him, having to suffer the reactions of his sinful life. Therefore, do not try to take him to your master for punishment.
You are the messengers of Lord Vishnu, and what you have said is true. We will set free the soul of this Ajamil and return to our master. From this day onwards, we will not come to take away the souls of the Vaishnava devotees of Lord Narayan.
Ajamil, because you chanted the holy name of Narayan at the time of your death, you have been relieved of having to suffer the effects of your sinful life. We will bless you that you will live a few years longer. Now take this opportunity to lead a pious life for the remaining time you have left. Remember to glorify the Supreme Lord Vishnu and perfect this human form of life.
The Vishnu Dutas left Ajamil, and he regained his health for a few more years. He changed his ways, travelled to holy places, and made atonement for his sins. He became known for his selfless charity and devotion to the Supreme Lord.
Alas, being a servant of my senses, how degraded I had become. I fell down from my position as a qualified Brahmana. I gave up my chaste and beautiful wife and begot children in the womb of another woman, becoming more and more addicted to sinful activities. Were it not for my past devotional service, I would now be writhing in hell. How else could I have gotten an opportunity to chant the holy name of the Lord when I was about to die? I have been blessed so that I was able to call out the name of the Lord Narayan and to see those most exalted personalities, the Vishnu Dutas, who came to rescue me from being dragged to the court of Yamraj at the time of death. I have acted as a very sinful person, and I regret all the evil and cruel things that I have done. But now I have gotten this opportunity to make amends. I must take this time to control my mind, life, and senses, to remember and chant the holy names of the Lord and engage in devotional service, so that I will not fall down again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life.
So what do we learn from the story? What is the name of the central character?
Ajamil.
Ajamil, isn't it? So Ajamil was actually born in a Brahmin family, but then he fell down. He fell down because he got carried away when he saw the prostitute embracing another man when he went to collect flowers for the deity worship, isn't it? And then he got married to the prostitute. And how many children he had from the prostitute? Did the story say that or no?
More than one?
Yeah, how many exactly?
2?
No. From the
3.
prostitute, Ajamila had 10 children.
10. Okay.
Okay. And the youngest was called
Narayan?
Narayan, yes. That was the one good thing he did, that he named his youngest son Narayan. And at the time of death, because he was living a sinful life, the Yamadutas, or the messengers of Lord Yamaraj, they came to take the soul of Ajamila. But because he called out the name Narayan, now remember, he was not calling out to the Lord. It's not that he is spiritual and religious and he called out Lord Narayan. He actually called out to his son Narayan. He got so scared, right? So out of fear, we naturally call out to the person we are most attached to, right? And he was very, very attached to his youngest son. So he was calling out to his son Narayan. But because his son has the name of the Lord, the Vishnu Dutas came to take his soul. So when the sinful souls are taken by Yamadutas, and we saw how they pull the soul out of the body using ropes, and they pull the soul out. It's like we are living in our house, like the body is the house of the soul, and somebody just comes into your house and kicks you out of the house forcefully. What kind of a feeling is that? That's the feeling that one gets when the Yamadutas pull the soul out of the body. But because he took the name of Narayan, the Vishnu Dutas came. So the Vishnu Dutas are the messengers of Lord Vishnu, and they come to take the soul of people who are devotees, or people who chant the name of the Lord. Right? The time of death is our final exam, and whatever we have done throughout our life, it accumulates, like it culminates at the point of death. Now, of course, Ajamila was leading a sinful life, and he was fortunate that, by chance he took the name of Narayan. And the Vishnu Dutas explained that even one takes the name of the Lord unknowingly. In this case, Ajamila took the name unknowingly. Even if you chant the name unknowingly, even then that person will get the benefit. That's how glorious it is to chant the holy name. And that's the reason why in the previous ages, the people would name their children with God's names. They wouldn't have fashionable names for their children. Now people prefer fashionable names, but previously they would name their children after the names of the Lord. And because they were more knowledgeable than us in scriptural knowledge, they knew. Okay, so what is the difference? The point we are trying to make here is that yes, everybody has to die, but there is a difference in the death of a devotee and the death of a non-devotee. A non-devotee is taken by the Yamadutas, but a devotee is taken by the Vishnu Dutas. That is the difference. So see, here there is one activity. The deer is in the mouth of this tiger. Or not tiger, what is it, a puma? What is it? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I think it looks like a puma.
Okay, it looks like a puma. Thank you, Ayush. So here the deer is in the mouth of the puma. And what is the deer thinking? The deer is thinking that I'm going to die now. He is feeling fear in his heart. But at the same time, this cub, which is in the mouth of the puma, now the activity is the same. Both these animals are in the mouth of the puma. But what is this baby cub feeling? He is feeling that I'm feeling very secure. I'm very happy because my mother is carrying me. So I feel very secure, right? This is the same feeling for a devotee and a non-devotee. A non-devotee feels fear at the time of death because he is taken by the Yamadutas. But a devotee at the time of death feels pleasure because he is taken by the Vishnudutas. So although both devotees and non-devotees die, there is a difference of feeling at the time of death. The event of death is unavoidable, but the trauma of death is. We cannot avoid death, but we can avoid the trauma of death. Death is actually very, very traumatic. And as we saw, those the Yamadutas are very scary looking. If you read this chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam, as I said, you can go to your Veda base, go to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapters 1, 2, and 3. 3 whole chapters are dedicated to the story. And of course, this video didn't say, but after this incident, the Yamadutas, they go to Yamaraj and they ask Yamaraj that what has just happened? Because, this is the only incident in all of our Vedic history where the Yamadutas and Vishnudutas have come to take the same soul. Usually it never happens. So these Yamadutas have never seen the Vishnudutas before. Yamadutas always come, take the sinful souls and they go. But they have never fought for one soul. So this is the only history in all of our Vedic scriptures where both of them have come together at the same spot. So after this incident, the Yamadutas, they go to Yamaraj and they ask what has just happened. So then Yamaraj tells them that anybody who takes the name, who is chanting the name of the Lord, you should not go near those people. Okay, and then he tells, and then he glorifies. Yamaraj also says at that time that chanting the name of the Lord is the most auspicious activity in the whole universe. That's why we insist so much that please chant. Somehow or the other, it takes only 10 minutes to chant one round, right? So Yamaraj says that chanting is the most auspicious activity in the whole universe, he says. And he tells them that, no, you should not go near anybody who chants the holy name. So if you're a chanter, then we can be rest assured that we will be taken by the Vishnudutas. Somehow or the other, so now somebody may argue that, okay, I will take the name of God at the time of death. Why should I chant now? Yes, he may think like that. So what is the answer to that question? If you have a student who studies just one day before the exam, what are the chances of him passing the exam compared to another student who has studied for the exam throughout the year? Which of the two students is going to pass the exam?
Who has studied it throughout the year?
Yes, definitely one who has studied throughout the year is going to pass the exam, isn't it? So when we study for our exam called death throughout our life, then there are greater chances that at the time of death also we will remember what we have practiced throughout our lifetime. But if throughout our lifetime we have only done nonsense, then that is what is going to come to our mind at the time of death. So you can read this, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, chapters 1 to 3. It's very, very nice story and it goes into great detail. So death for a non-devotee is this. The Yamadutas come to take the soul. And then where do they take him? They take him to the court of Yamaraj, where he is tried. It's like a court. And then, the soul is said that you did this, you did this, you did this. So this is your punishment. You are going to, say, go to so-and-so hellish planet. And this is going for such a period of time like that. So this is the destination of a sinful person. But for a devotee, he is taken with all respect by the Vishnu Dutas on a celestial airplane, with all respect. And the description is given that how even the demigods sing the glories of this person on the way back. And then what is the destination? The destination is like Gopakumar, where he will be welcomed into the spiritual world and be personally hugged by Krishna. So although both devotees and non-devotees die, right? But there is a difference in the death of the two. Let's do 28.
Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktanidhananyeva tatra ka paridevana.
Translation. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation?
So say previously Krishna said that even if you think that the body is going to die and even if you think that the body takes birth, so that was a hypothetical situation. Krishna was telling Arjuna, isn't it? Even if you think that about this false philosophy, even then there is nothing to lose. Here also he's talking about this atheistic or a false philosophy where everything was void or everything was null. There was nothing before. Then it became manifest. Then it came into existence, and then again it will be unmanifest. Again everything will be zero. Again everything will be void or empty, right? Even if you believe in that atheistic philosophy or that false theory, even then what is there to lament? Because anyway everything is going to be destroyed. So this is again an atheistic philosophy, but Krishna is saying even if you believe in this, then what is there to lament? So the scientists believe in the Big Bang theory, no? Everything came into everything was void, then there was an explosion of some sort, and then from that everything has come into existence. That is the scientific theory. So this is what Krishna is saying here, that from the unmanifest stage, from the void, everything has come into existence. So even if you believe in that theory, even then there is no cause for lamentation. 29.
आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच्चैनमन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वाप्येनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्.
Translation. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
So this is called as the amazing verse. If somebody asks you which is the amazing verse of the Gita, then the amazing verse of the Gita is 2.29. It's considered to be the amazing verse because the word amazing appears so many times. So what does Krishna say here? Some look on the soul as amazing. So somebody has understood that yes, the soul is so amazing. Why is the soul amazing? Because it is so tiny and it is so powerful. It can animate the smallest body from the amoeba, and it can also animate huge big bodies like that of a whale, an elephant, or huge big trees, right? So that's the potency of the soul. So therefore some people look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. Describe means people who teach the others, they describe, yes, the soul is like this, the soul is like that. So some describe him as amazing and some hear of him as amazing. So if somebody is attending a class, somebody is attending a discourse, then they hear that the soul is amazing. And then Krishna says, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So when somebody is very deeply materially attached, or he's too much on the sense gratification platform, then even after hearing about the soul, still they cannot understand the soul. So here, see, some people may think that, wow, I am not this body, such a freedom. So they feel so happy that, okay, I am not what I look in, what I see in the mirror. That's not me. So they feel relieved that, yes, I am eternal. I am not going to die. They feel so happy when they realize that they are not the body, that they are spirit soul. But there are some others who will not understand, right? Still, even after they know that they are not the body, they are still on the bodily platform. So some look at the soul as amazing, some understand, some even after hearing, they do not understand that the soul is amazing. Okay, so one example to understand this is if somebody has had a lot of alcohol, he's completely drunk, and he enters into this most beautiful city. Does he have the ability to understand or appreciate the beauty of the city? No, because he's drunk. What is he going to look for in that city? He is only going to look for a shop where he can buy more alcohol. Because he's in a drunken state of mind, he cannot appreciate the beauty of the city. He is only worried about where he can buy more alcohol. So that is a state of mind. One cannot understand the amazing quality of the soul if one is too attached to sense gratification, or one is on too much on the bodily concept of life. So there is a history of a person called Bilva Mangala Thakur. The video is there on YouTube. I'll share it in the group later. So Bilva Mangala Thakur, he was also attached to a prostitute like Ajamila. and every day he would go to meet her. And there was one day when his father passed away. And even when he is doing the final rites and rituals of his father, even that time he wanted the rituals to be over quickly so that he can go and meet the prostitute. Okay, so deep was he was so addicted to go and seeing the prostitute and meeting her every day. So finally, anyway, after his he finished the rituals, and that day it was raining very very heavily, and he had to go through a lot of difficulties. He had to cross a river also in order to go and meet that prostitute. And when he was crossing the river, he comes across a dead body that is floating in the river. Sometimes you have dead bodies floating in rivers, no? So he comes across this dead body floating on the in the river, and he's so mad, right? He's so crazy. The only thing that is on his mind that somehow or the other I have to meet this prostitute, that he thinks that dead body is a log of wood, and he uses that dead body to swim across the river. So that's what sense gratification can do to us, right? We completely forget, or we don't realize what's going on around us. The only thing we need is we want to gratify our senses. So this is the history of Bilva Mangala Thakur. But how the story ends is also very interesting. You can see it on the video. I'll share it in the group later.
Yes, I know what happens.
You know? Okay, Ayush, you want to share? Tell us what happens.
Well, I can't remember fully, but at one point he decides to go blind, and what else? And Krishna was giving him like stuff. I can't remember fully, but when he touched his hand, I think he realized he's Krishna.
Okay, very good, Ayush. Excellent. So yes, that is correct. That he decides to, he plucks his own eyes and he makes himself blind, and then Krishna takes some foodstuffs for him every day. So yes, but there is something that happens in between. And why does he decide to pluck his eyes? Do you know that story? What happens?
I can't remember fully.
Okay, doesn't matter. But I congratulate you on your memory for remembering so much. Very nice, Ayush. So you can see the entire story on the group. Okay, I will share it there. Let's do 30.
देहि नित्यमवध्योऽयं देहे सर्वस्य भारत तस्मात् सर्वाणि भूतानि न त्वं शोचितुमर्हसि.
Translation. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being.
Okay, so here again, now Krishna is concluding this discussion on the subject matter of the soul. And what he's saying is, there is no need for you to lament, because he who dwells in the body, that is the soul, can never be killed. So with this, Krishna is concluding this section. And with this, we come to the end of section 2 of chapter 2. Now, after this, in 31 to 38, okay, let's read this before. This is a summary of all that we have seen so far. Let's read this.
What is the difference between the body and the soul? Tolerance, consciousness, symptom of the soul. Soul changes habitats. Compassion should be aimed at the soul, the drowning man. Needs of the soul cannot satisfy the soul simply by satisfying the body. Location and the size of the soul. Soul and super soul. Nature of the soul, Satchitananda. Qualitatively the same and quantitatively different.
So this is a summary of what we have seen. Another summary. Let's read this.
Identity. Krishna begins by teaching Arjuna the most fundamental understanding of spiritual life. As the bird lives in a cage, and as the driver operates a car, we, the spirit soul, similarly inhabit, animate, and utilize this body. Although living within the body, we are simultaneously different from it, temporarily operating it to perform activities, fulfill our desires, and interact with the world around us. Until we realize our true identity as spirit souls, we undergo the process of reincarnation, accepting unnatural material bodies and the subsequent sufferings and distresses of life in this material world. This is the first teaching that the Guru imparts knowledge of who we really are. While it may seem elementary and basic, such wisdom has seldom been understood and truly realized. This answer to the basic question of who am I can set the soul free. It is an answer that is worth hearing again and again.
So see, this is this knowledge that we are the spirit soul. This is the first teaching, is the ABC of Vedic knowledge, right? And we have, most of us have gone to, we have been educated, right? We've gone to school and college. So many years, 15, 20 years of our life, we go to schools and colleges, but we are not taught who we are. We don't even know. I didn't know this until I read Prabhupada's books. So Krishna, he right away goes to the root of the problem. And in this section, he explains Sambandha. Who are we? Who is God? And what is our relationship with God? Okay. Okay, I forgot what I was about to say now. Yes. So what was Arjuna's first reason he gave to not fight the war? Who remembers his first reason?
As their family members?
No. What was the first reason? Family comes much later. The first reason, we divided them into categories, right?
Maya?
Compassion. Compassion. Because Arjuna was feeling compassion. Therefore, now in this entire section, Krishna has told him that your compassion.
What is compassion?
Sorry?
Compassion means?
Compassion means he's feeling that, see, now we discussed previously how compassion can be on the wrong platform. Arjuna's it's good to have compassion. Compassion is a good quality, but his compassion was on the bodily platform. So he was on the material platform. Compassion means he's feeling, that he is going to kill, and he thinks that by his killing, they are going to die. So he's on the bodily concept of life.
Okay.
Okay. So because Arjuna's first reason was compassion, Krishna has countered that argument, that compassion argument, by telling him that you are not this body, you are spirit soul. So this is a summary. Now in the next section, Krishna is going to counteract Arjuna's next argument. Arjuna's next argument was that he said that I cannot enjoy. So even if I win the war, there can be no enjoyment. How can I enjoy a kingdom that is tainted with blood? He says, there will be no one with whom I can share my happiness. Yes. So the next argument of Arjuna is going to be counteracted by Krishna in section 3. So this section 3 is titled as Karma Kanda. Section 2 was titled Jnana, right? So the compassion argument was counteracted on the Jnana platform, and this next argument, enjoyment argument, is going to be counteracted by Krishna on the Karma Kanda platform. We will do this in the next class. And we will also say something called as the yoga ladder. This Karma Kanda is a lower understanding than Jnana. On the yoga ladder, like we have different levels. Okay. So Jnana is a higher concept than Karma Kanda. But still, first Krishna spoke about Jnana, and then he's explaining the lower realm of Karma Kanda. The reason being that Krishna is counteracting the arguments in the same sequence of Arjuna's concerns. So he's not going, this is the lower, and then he goes higher, and then he goes higher and higher. He's not going in that sequence. Krishna's arguments are in the same sequence as Arjuna's doubts. That's the reason why first he speaks about jnana, and then he speaks about karma kanda. But karma kanda is a lower understanding than jnana, or jnana is higher than karma kanda. So we'll stop here. Should I play the story of Bilo Mangala Thakur now? Do you want to see it now?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me share the screen. Can you all see?
Yes.
Many years ago, there lived a South Indian Brahmin. He came from a rich and respectable family, but he was very fallen. He used to visit a woman of ill repute by the name of Chintamani. He was so enamored by her that even when the priests were performing his father's death ceremony, he was so impatient to leave just to go to see her.
I have to go. Can't you hurry up? I have to go. How much longer is this going to take?
He desperately wanted to be with Chintamani. He could think of nothing else. As soon as he could, he left the funeral ceremony and set off to meet his beloved Chintamani. That evening there was a terrible storm raging, but that didn't stop him. When he got to the river, it was a raging torrent. But without a thought for his own safety, he dived into the river and swam across to the other side.
Oh, it's such a terrible night. I don't think Bilva will come. Not in this.
She locked the door and went inside. When Bilva finally arrived at her house, he found the front gate locked. He had to climb over the wall to get to her house. He grabbed what he thought was a hanging vine, but it turned out to be the tail of a snake. But that didn't stop him. He was so attached to the thought of being with Chintamani. He banged loudly on the door.
Bilva, I didn't expect to see you tonight. You're drenched to the bone. Come in and get yourself dried.
Chintamani, my beloved, I've travelled through the storm just to be with you.
Such intense love you show for me, Bilva. But what's the use of it? This body is just a bag of blood and bones. It's not worthy of this kind of devotion. If you had this much love for the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, you'd be a pure devotee by now.
Chintamani's words struck him deep in the heart. He began to realise the truth of what she had said.
Go, Bilva. Go at once to the land of Vrindavan. Place all this love and devotion you have for me at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and make your life perfect.
Without another word, he left. He set out for Vrindavan with great determination, convinced by the words of Chintamani. One day, he was resting near the banks of a river when he heard the sweet singing of a woman going down to the river to collect water. Bilva found himself unable to resist the temptation and followed her.
Namaste. We're so fortunate to have you visit our home. After all, it's a householder's duty to serve their guests, especially holy men like you. Kindly tell us how we can serve you. Is there anything we can get for you?
Yes. I would like to be alone with your wife.
Oh, this is a strange request. But yes, if that's what you want, then it's our duty to serve you. I will wait outside, sir, and you can be alone with my wife.
Dear lady, kindly let down your hair. And now hand me your hairpin. Once again, I have been tempted by the sight of a beautiful woman. These eyes have betrayed me. They are my enemies.
Ashamed of himself for once again falling victim to his lusty desires, Bilva blinded himself in order to carry on his pursuit of spiritual life.
Lead me to Vrindavan.
Bilva Mangala made his way to Vrindavan. There he lived simply and dedicated himself to developing his loving relationship with Lord Sri Krishna. He performed penance and austerities, spending much of his time chanting and composing prayers to glorify his beloved Lord.
Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jaya Jaya.
Excuse me, sir. My friends and I enjoy your singing and prayers. Will you kindly accept this gift of milk?
Whose voice is this? So light and fresh. Come closer, please. O gentle soul, describe yourself to this poor, blind, old fool.
I'm just a coward boy from the village. If you like, sir, I can bring you milk every day.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
So every day, Krishna would come with fresh, creamy milk for him.
Thakurji, I've brought you some milk.
My dear child, come closer. I know who you are. You're Krishna, my beloved Krishna.
But Thakurji, I'm just a simple coward boy.
Oh, my dear Krishna, you may escape my grasp, but you'll never escape from my heart. For I have captured you here forever. Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya Govinda Jaya.
Did you like the story? Not story, but history.
Yes.
Okay. What do we learn from the story? The big lesson, every sinner has a future. No matter how sinful one is, if one surrenders to the Lord, then we can attain life's perfection. Just like Bilva Mangala Thakur. Because eventually he surrendered, then Krishna personally was taking foodstuff to him, isn't it? So Krishna is like a loving father who will accept his children back despite all our faults.
Consciousness is more effective than the material world.
Yes, only
Conscious are
thing, yes.
recognized by the conscious only.
Yes, the thing is, our consciousness has become contaminated, right? The more we practice devotional service, then the more we clean our consciousness. So, devotional service helps us in the cleansing process to remove the contaminations, the impurities in our heart. And then, when we are pure, then we can attain life. So, it doesn't matter what kind of sin we may have committed in the past, right? But if we make a decision, then we will be accepted by the Lord. But that decision we have to make. That decision we have to make because He is not going to force us.
One more important issue you want to discuss. 2 minutes I will take. That that Vani, that our vibration, that is very important factor to recognize each other. Because suppose I say your name, Oi, please sit down here, and I say, Esteemed mother, please, you just have a seat. Without any other sensation, by the vibration, you make an image of, you make my image, that what sort of his person will be.
Yes, correct.
So this vibration or Vani means this technology, when we speak the mantra, Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now this vibrations, it just spread in this universe. Means it has some frequency, it has some speed, it goes somewhere, somebody is taking care about it, somebody is listening about it. So is there any particular style of speaking this type of mantra? Means there are, suppose some people say Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna. Some people say Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare. Some people sing in the very good form like Jagjit Singh and all. So the effect, by this mantra, is there any code of conduct? How to chant? How the speed of the mantra, how it affects? Because 16, suppose 16 times or 18 times, as per the when we take the Guru Maharaj, what they need minimum this one. But they never says that they never say that how much speed of this type of thing should be or something like that. How you should speak the words properly, attraction of the words,
Yeah, actually, the speed depends on what you are comfortable with, right? Just because I'm chanting fast, if I'm eating the words, like instead of saying Hare Krishna 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 Hare, I'm saying Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. I'm going very fast. I'm going so fast that I'm missing the words in between. Then that speed is not good. So it's a good practice that we record our chanting. Let's say we are chanting one round and we record our voice. And when we hear the recording, then we will realize whether we are missing the words or we have chanted each word. So if we are going fast, but we have chanted each word, then it's fine. And also when we chant, we chant loudly because we should hear what we chant. Prabhupada said that if you are hearing what you're chanting, then you're good enough. That means what? When we are hearing that vibration, that means we are concentrating on our chanting, right? But if sometimes we have chanted 6-8 rounds, but I have not heard myself chanting even one round. So that it's not the speed so much. What is important, you can go fast, but if you're hearing what you're chanting and if you're pronouncing each word distinctly, then it's good to go. You're good to go, no problem. But if you feel that if you're going fast, you're eating the words, then it's better to slow down. See, the more we chant, no, with practice, if we can do it faster, at the same time pronounce each word distinctly. But that comes with practice. That comes with practice.
Then the second, when the we understand that the soul and the God both are living in our heart, you know. So when we do not deliver the word by mouth of the Hare Krishna, suppose we just close, we don't speak anything, and inside our feelings we just chant this mantra uh, continuously inside that sometimes we feel that things. So it has an equal importance or some different way?
Yeah, see as we discussed, no, every yoga has its recommended process, and silent meditation or taking the name of the Lord internally was practiced in the Satya Yoga.
Okay.
But in the Kali Yoga, we have to say it out loud. Now, there are two reasons. One is internal meditation is not possible in Kali Yoga, as we discussed, because there are so many disturbances around us. Somebody is honking, the bell is ringing, the phone is vibrating. So all this causes our meditation or our internal meditation to break. And also we discussed how it took Vishwamitra, no, what was his name? Valmiki to meditate silently for 60,000 years to perfect it. So if it can take Valmiki 60,000 years, it would take me 600 million years. So who has that kind of a time, right? And another reason why we chant loudly is because when we chant loudly, the entities around us, just by hearing, they are getting benefited. So let's say I have an atheist friend. He's sitting next to me and he's a complete atheist. He's never going to chant in his life. But just by hearing me chant, he is getting benefited. So even if there is no human being around me, there are always some entities, right? Invisible entities around us. All of them are getting benefited when we chant loudly.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And we have one personality called Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, he appears in the Chaitanya Leela, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself branded him as the Nama Acharya, someone who perfectly chants the holy name. So he also used to chant loudly. We learn how to chant from the Nama Acharya, from Haridas Thakur, and he used to chant out loud. So we learn from him. Okay, and the recommended process in Kali Yuga is chanting of the holy name, but loudly, not internally.
Okay.
Okay, what else?
Good question indeed. Good question. Thank you for bringing all this, Prabhuji. And thank you for clarifying. Really interesting questions.
Yes, so Munesh Prabhu has brought very crucial, because he's chanting now, these questions are coming to his mind. Are you chanting?
Yes, that's why I'm, because I listen the Hare Krishna many different ways, you know. And when I speak, then this is something different. So there must be some code of conduct of this, you know. That's why I ask these questions.
Okay. You are doing the Panchatattva mantra before the Maha Mantra, right?
Not yet.
No, that is very important. If say, I'll tell you one incident. It's an incident from my spiritual master. He often tells the story that, you know, there was this, he was traveling somewhere in northeast of India. I'm not sure of the exact state, but suddenly there was this person who approached him, and he said that, you know, I have been chanting for the past 20 years and I don't feel any ecstasy. I don't feel any happiness. I don't feel anything changing in my life. And I have given 20 years to this chanting, but nothing, I don't feel anything. So then my spiritual master asked him, are you chanting the Panchatattva mantra? He said, no, I'm not chanting that. So then he told him, no, you chant this mantra at least once. At least once. Yeah, you can do how many ever, but at least once. So then after a few years, my Guru Maharaj happened to go to that place again. Yeah, and the same person, he went and he fell at his feet and he held his feet and he said, what mantra have you given me? What is this great magical mantra that you have given me? So he said, why? He said, ever since I'm doing the Maha Mantra with the Panchatattva mantra, I'm feeling so much of transcendental happiness. This is so magical. You know,
it is simply to surrender the Krishna, no, that mantra related.
No, the Panchatattva mantra is the name of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. And when we chant that mantra, we are seeking blessings so that we chant in the right mood. And we are also asking for forgiveness. If I make any mistake, please forgive us. So, we cannot do anything on our own. We are not these self-made people. We always need the blessings of a senior. So we
Of
seek
course.
their blessings and then we do the Hare Krishna mantra like that.
Okay, of course.
So please make sure you chant the Panchatattva mantra at least once for every round.
Once again, you will give me the link of Panchatattva. We have
Yes,
the
I
script
will.
of it.
I will send it to you on your WhatsApp.
Okay, thank you
So
very
I would
much.
like to
Thank you.
share something. I just bought this from the chanting this thing bag and this tulsi mala.
Oh,
so
wonderful.
I also got this along with this. So there is this zip which where you can keep your money and stuff like that. I've kept this card only with me. So even though by chanting I would not prefer to be around the electronic gadgets and all. So it's given here. This card fits easily in this zip. So I keep it. First I read this and then Hare Krishna, though we all know by heart. So then I start the chanting. But a lot of difference, a lot of peace of mind. And I've noticed maybe it's around 8 days only that I've started chanting. Okay, and coincidentally, it was last Sunday only, and it was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthday, I suppose, on Purnima, the holy day.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the day I began chanting. I went to the ISKCON temple. I bought this chanting bag and the mala, the Tulsi Para mala. So, and I luckily, coincidentally, got this card also. So it's always there in the chanting bag. So before I start, I read that out and then I start chanting.
It's something similar to what I did too when I just started, but I don't have that card. So I have this thing and I wrote it down. So every time before I start or Suresh starts, I have memorized it by now, but Suresh reads it and then he does it.
Wonderful.
So we have kept it in the bag itself.
And Mataji, I think this mantra is there, no? Panchatattva mantra. It includes like 8 names, no? Krishna, Chaitanya, Jai Sri Krishna, Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advait, Gadadhara, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakturin. And we are just collecting all the dearest associate 5 who are there in the photos. Panchatattva photo will be there, no? And that 5 associates and Pura Bhaktu Vrunduko, we are just reminding, no? So we are, by taking their blessing, we are going for Mahamantra, so that which is very, very, what you said, no? Without this Mahamantra, without this Panchatattva Mahamantra, we are not getting. As you said before that, without any bona fide master or without any this disciplined succession coming from the same category, we cannot get the exact knowledge. Like that, even Mahamantra also, we are getting from this Panchatattva and Gaura Bhakta Mahavrand, Pura devotees. So from there, we are getting this succession, so that we are blessed and we have the correct impact of that mantra. I think, is it right, ma'am? Is
Yes,
it right?
correct. Exactly. Yes, you said it exactly how it is. Very nice.
Yeah, without master, even if we read like without spiritual master, even if we read Bhagavad Gita, our understanding is different and that impact also different. Like that, the same thing. Even if we chant without this Panchatattva mantra, there is no that impact, because there is no blessing of this devotees or this Panchatattva. So with their blessings, we will get that impact.
Yes.
Thank you very much too. You all have opened their treasurer, no? So,
yes, it's a great treasure that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, and we are eternally grateful, because this was a secret mantra in the Vedas previously, and it was only given to qualified people. But he has opened it up so anybody can, even a child like Ayush. How old are you, Ayush?
I am 10.
You're 10, and since how many years you are chanting?
Like 2 years.
From
back.
2 years, he's already chanting. 2 years, So it's even a small child can chant. There are no rules and regulations. So let's make use of this. I want to congratulate Tejal. She has started chanting 1 week back. And whoever is not chanting, please chant. It's just 10 minutes, but we cannot measure the mercy that we get. Okay, it's immeasurable mercy. Please take 10 minutes of your time. It's not so much to give in the 24 hours. So Varun, I will send the Panchatattva mantra in the group. You have asked in the chat. I will share in the group so that everybody can benefit, and I will also send the audio. You know.
And Mataji, and if anybody have Bhagavad Gita book, in the first itself it is there. This Panchatattva mantra.
Yes, yes.
In the Bhagavad Gita also we can get. No?
Yes, yes, it is there. But anyway, I'll share in the group so that it's easily accessible. And if you have any further doubts, you can ask.
But for me, this being a week and sorry, so I really feel my mind has become more calm. I get less anger, and I've also become more patient with my daughter.
Yes.
So it's just been a week, not more, but still I can find a lot of difference.
Yes.
So even she mentioned, and then I said, even you start chanting now. So I make her chant after I chant, and I share my mala with her, and she also chants.
Wonderful. How old is she?
She's 12.
12. Wonderful. Very nice.
Actually, children, they want to chant. There is a mala with 28 beats also. Who cannot do 108, no, Mataji. For children, small mala will be there, no?
No, but if she's doing 108, let her do 108. No? She's already doing
if they are able to do. If not, otherwise for children, very small children, we have one more option, no?
Okay. No, but for 12-year-old, it's fine. They can do 108.
Okay.
Now the children are not
for her also.
Now the children are not small children; they are computer children. They can make amazing things. It's not question of age now.
Yeah.
And that is the problem, Prabhuji. Actually, see, nowadays everyone sticking to computers. Because of that, they are losing their original things. Now we are like very laziness. We cannot able to do that. So children also sometimes, if we tell them to do 108, some children, not all, they don't want to do. If we use small mala who are not able to do, that also little kind of helpful for them.
Yeah, you have to see each case. So if the child is not able to do, then we start with less, and then slowly we help them progress. Yes, that's fine.
And Mataj, I have a question which I don't know answer. That is, I heard this question from a kid, but answer I did not heard. Why Krishna is in blue color only?
Well, that's the color he chose. No, every incarnation has a particular manner in which they look.
I don't know. There is a big thing regarding that color behind, because I don't know. That's why if you know, you can tell me. Because I have this question in the Bhakti Vriksha class by one kid. At that time, our Guru Maharaj said it's a big story. So I personally explained some other day. So I don't know that story. I know only question. Behind that, there is a big thing is there, he told.
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard
after
of
that. After that, in that classes, sometimes I did not attend because of the office busy. Later I forgot. Now I get into the mind that question.
So when you have the answer, please share it with us so we can also learn.
Sure. Definitely, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. What else we have to discuss?
And Mataji, reading better if from like we can start reading Prabhupada books. It is very good, which are having very good. No, this one Krishna book with Krishna story book is there, no, very big one. But it's very good. Yeah, even and one who is very anxious, not only from Veda base, we are having the Krishna app. In that Krishna app, we can get very nice book. Like so many books are there. Library will be there in the app, Krishna app.
Okay.
There every day we are getting one Bhagavad Gita sloka with the purport, everything, and also darshan from so many places every day. Daily feeds will come. One more thing is Bhagavatam one verse. And just day before yesterday, in that full Bhagavad Gita completed, again it started. Daily one verse will come in the starting phase. If anybody wants, they also can do that. Already one time completed full. Again, they are in that app. They started again Bhagavad Gita from first sloka.
Okay. So Krishna app we have to download.
Yes, Krishna. It's very nice. And I have already Krishna book with me. So many books are there. But every day when I am going to sleep, no, mobile with always with us, because books we can't carry because they are very devotional. We cannot put on the bed, no. So I used to read this Krishna book, almost 38 or 39 chapters finished. It's like, no, when I'm reading some other books, I'm sharing my experience to everyone. when we are reading like any normal books, we feel that like we will not just clearly it cannot come to our eyes. But if we are reading Krishna book, no, every scene, like when we are reading, it is in front of the thing, it is going on. Very beautiful explanation that you can feel that exactly some film is going in front of us. It's very, very, even this Rasa Leela chapters and everything, how this Krishna in the childhood, how he played in the forest, how nicely explained. See, our words, our English words, our language, it's really blessed with these stories. With if no stories is there, they cannot use such beautiful stories. It gets meaning to the language, it gets meaning to the words. That beautiful they use the words. Really, it's the greatness of Srila Prabhupada. If anyone wants really, really to enjoy this thing, definitely go through these books. I forgot some books also, which is very basic things, short books for Krishna consciousness, which gives a good knowledge, and we can know the taste. Without knowing the taste, no one can enjoy that.
Okay,
If
so you
any
can share it in the
books-
group. Please share it in the group, your app
Yeah, yeah.
and the books, so that everybody can benefit.
I have very good example regarding this. You see, the new recipe, many recipes nowadays we are trying from Western countries and everything. But before anyone gives us, no, this is not a thing we can't take. But if it is really good, someone start doing that. If it's a good one, if they'll start liking that, they cannot leave that. Such a good taste, very nice. Really,
Yes.
it's very blessed. And see, before this class, I was asking God every day, I want someone who explain Bhagavad Gita. I want to complete it. Many times, every day I will feel this. After getting your link, I was feel really God is there. If you really want to get into this, God will help us. For sure, for sure.
Yes,
I was
definitely.
really happy when I got your link. I started doing this, but I was unhappy because the first chapter classes I was not heard, 3-4 classes, and I'm not able to answer the first question thing also. And after that, even if I'm going out also, I'm putting at that time data and I'm attending the classes. And with the people who have the big knowledge only can explain this much big scripture in short time.
Yes.
Very nice. See, you are taking very less time and giving more knowledge. More knowledge. See, actually, one sloka, it will take 1 hour, 2 hours if they want deeply. Only one sloka. But if you are giving that much knowledge in very, very short time, that means how much knowledge you have. You are really blessed, Mataji. Awesome. You are giving and great knowledge, and something like liberating to so many fallen souls.
Oh, don't use such big words. I'm just trying to do something. See, the Gita
Mataji,
knowledge.
you are really, see, we are all attending. So many people, they don't know that. Just means like we are getting many posts in a Facebook, which is not at all useful for this life. That's what we said. No, whatever we do for Krishna. See, you are using technology, Zoom for Krishna. You are using your voice for Krishna. You are using everything you are using for Krishna, means you are giving such a blissful life to everyone. Even maybe some people just reading for like knowledge only, but later they will definitely, they are already blessed. That's why they are coming to the class. We are already blessed. We are already devotees.
Yes, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhupada, sure. Yes,
Sana?
Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna
I would
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Yes,
Ram, Hare
we are
Ram,
really
Hare.
blessed to
Varsha, I
have
didn't
you.
get you.
I would just Googled it as to why Krishna is blue in color, and it says that the legends tell us that
Yeah.
Lord Krishna had drunk poisoned milk given by a demon when he was a baby, and that had caused the bluish tinge in his skin. Just like the same thing that happened, like a blue throat of Lord Shiva, who is believed to have drunk the poison to save the world from destruction of the time of Samudra Manthan.
Okay, so this has to be verified. Manasa, you have to verify the story.
Sure, Mata, sure.
Okay.
I will check.
Okay. All right then. Take care, all of you,
Okay.
and see you next week. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much.
Thank you.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Hare Krishna.